Everybody, welcome to Build at Home. I am once again your host, Ricky Camilleri. I hope everybody is safe and healthy out there. I'm joined right now by the fantastic singer-songwriter JP Saxe, who you know most likely from his hit song "If the World Was Ending." JP, it's so nice to have you here. Good to see you. I hope you seem healthy. Are you healthy?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, Ricky. I appreciate it.
Where are you currently isolated, quarantined?
I'm in Los Angeles.
Oh, okay. Before we get started with the interview, I just want to say that up to about 404 million school lunches have been missed across the country due to school closures because of the coronavirus. If anybody who is watching this is interested in donating money to try to get meals to those children, please go to nokidhungry.org where you can find out how to do that. JP, before we get started with all of this and talking about your music, how is quarantine life for you, Ben? What have you been doing?
It's a lot of television, just an obscene amount of television. Rewatching Westworld, doing some writing, and trying to just, be at peace with the quiet of it all.
Yeah. Have you gone back to the beginning of Westworld to try to ramp up for this season? Is that what you've been doing?
Yeah, we started it at the very beginning and we're now on season 2.
Okay, so you're not on season 3 yet, or have you watched it before and you're watching season 3 as well while doing it?
No, I'm waiting. I'm rewatching from the beginning so I can be fully prepared for season 3.
Can I ask, have you found yourself to be as creatively inspired as you normally are being at home? Like, I know a lot of people put a lot of pressure on themselves to be productive during this. Do you find that you're able to do that?
I'm trying not to pressure myself too much to be productive and more just, find the silver linings of an incredibly unique moment in time.
Yeah.
To, just be with people I love. And, when I find myself going a little stir crazy and insane, I found the most grounding feeling for me has been a sense of gratitude that I am with people I love, that I'm not in anywhere near the most dire version of what a lot of people are going through because of Corona. And, that's kind of allowed me to just, sit quietly and enjoy what I can of the benefits of a moment like this.
Let's talk about If the World Was Ending, a song that I think was released in October of 2019, but obviously has a new kind of relevance
Totally.
for better or worse. What has that been like?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's been strange, to be honest, because when we wrote that song, it was kind of inspired by imagining a hypothetical situation where, because of some cataclysmic event, all of the reasons that get in the way of love just don't seem too relevant anymore. And when we originally wrote it, I think it resonated with people because they'd imagined a situation like that. But now it isn't so hypothetical anymore.
Do you find that the song has helped you, even thinking about the song has helped you getting through this at all as well?
I mean, I think what we're all looking for all of the time is to connect with other people, but what we're really looking for at a time like this is to feel connected to other people because we are, disconnected by requirement at the moment. And I think that song is about like wanting to put connection above all else, and wanting to put love above all else. So in that sense, the fact that I'm getting to connect with a lot of people around the world on the internet because they're, the song is resonating with them. Yeah, it's totally helping me. In a moment like this, for sure.
Right. It's very much about, well, I don't want to say what it's about because you wrote it, but riding out the end of the world with a person that you feel close to and that you love and are happy to hold on to in the midst of the end.
Yeah. I mean, I've been very clear in all of my press around this song that it is not a support of texting your ex. I really do not condone ex texting or encourage ex texting of any kind.
Have people taken it to mean that, like, they should text their ex in the midst of coronavirus because of your song?
I hope not. My hope, the stories that have meant the most to me are people who's, saying that the song inspired them to maybe reconnect with a family member who they hadn't spoken to in a while, or a parent that they hadn't spoken to in a while. And the song just kind of connecting to them to that part of themselves that, wanted to prioritize their love for someone else over, all the petty stuff that can get in the way sometimes.
Yeah. What is your process when it comes to songwriting? How long does it usually take you to write a song, and how does it begin?
It usually starts with journaling. Journaling is a big part of my process. I find if I'm trying to write a song, it doesn't feel as sincere as if I just write whatever's in my head and then go back to it later and think, you know what, that might be the start of a song. That feels like a chorus. Just like trying to have it be as unfiltered by the imagining playing it for people as possible, and just trying to like make it as close to my internal dialogue as I can.
So the words come first, and then possibly the melody and the hook comes afterwards.
Yeah, for me it's always words first.
Right. And so do you then you start playing around on the piano or start playing around on the guitar, and you think like, oh, these words kind of match what I'm playing right now, and I could kind of work this together?
Totally. I mean, words have kind of a natural rhythm in them usually, so I find like words kind of give me melodies and give me like rhythmic patterns, and just kind of I just follow their lead. Sorry, I got distracted there for a second. My girlfriend was dancing at me behind the camera and being all silly.
If the world was ending, you've got someone there, it makes sense. It's good.
I do, yes.
Speaking of songwriting, you wrote "If the World Was Ending" with somebody, right? Who sings on the song with you? Did you co-write the song with her? Excuse me, am I missing? You did, right?
No, you're totally right. Julia Michaels and I wrote the song together.
Yeah. What was that process like?
It was amazing. I think she's one of the best songwriters ever, and I've been a fan of hers long before I ever met her. And she had posted another song of mine called 25 in Barcelona. And that was our first interaction. I saw her post it. I responded to her, told her how much I appreciated it, and we got talking. She suggested we write, and then the day we met for our session is the day we wrote If the World Was Ending.
How does a session like that go? You meet for a session and then you just bring ideas and start messing around until you find something that sticks?
Yeah, it was a couple weeks after the earthquakes in Los Angeles around 4th of July. So I had written If the World Was Ending, You'd Come Over, write in my journal, and then brought it to the session with Julia and was like, hey, I have this idea for a song. And then, we started talking about where we were, what we were thinking, what it felt like, and the conversation just kind of flowed naturally into the song itself.
And you're not originally from LA, right? You're originally from are you from Toronto or somewhere in Canada?
I'm from Toronto, yeah.
You're from Toronto. When did you make the jump from Toronto to LA?
I moved to Los Angeles when I was 19.
Oh wow, I love Toronto personally. I don't know if you made the correct choice.
City, yeah.
Sorry.
You know what? I think it was exciting as a 19-year-old to be in a place where I could be surrounded by some of the best musicians in the world and in the whole industry. And, I think at that age, we're all kind of looking for something new.
Of course. What were some of your early influences when you were starting out?
I was a big fan of jazz. I listened to a lot of Keith Jarrett,
Wow.
Oscar Peterson, Ella Fitzgerald, Nina Simone. That was like early for me. And then I got into songwriting by like the Beatles and Carole King, Ray Charles. And then I was a pianist, so I was like super into Billy Joel and Elton John. That was where Carole King was big for me too. And then I discovered R&B, and that changed my life up sonically, and like where I saw like jazz harmony being possible. And then I got really into poetry, and that kind of led me to my obsession with lyricism.
Who was your gateway to R&B?
Lauryn Hill.
Oh, really?
It probably went Sister Act 2. Hearing her sing Joyful, Joyful, thinking it was the most beautiful thing I'd heard in my entire life, looking up Lauryn Hill, finding Miseducation, listening to that album on repeat for a year, and then from there.
Yeah, that's such an interesting album because it is the beginning of this kind of like new version of deconstructing R&B, like not just crafting R&B songs, but breaking them down, which you hear a lot of with Solange even does now. Like Solange's version of R&B is like really trying to like deconstruct it and show you the different elements.
Totally.
Almost in a sort of disconnected way sometimes.
Totally. And then Honestly, I think some of my biggest influences aren't even musicians. Like a lot of my biggest influences are poets.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
People who like really craft their sincerity in a way that feels so human and yet so like artful. Um, and I think like surrounding myself with poets in Los Angeles was like one of the most beneficial things I ever did for my art.
How did you go about that? Did you go to poetry slams and
Yeah,
stuff like that? Were you
exactly. Yeah.
were you were you reading poetry as well?
No, I never did that, but I would get up on stage and sing songs a cappella. It's actually
Oh,
like how
wow.
I would try. It's often still how I would try out songs for the first time because I
Mhm.
find if a song can like play to an audience with no music, just words, just singing the melody, and an audience who's primarily listening to the lyrics anyway, then that's a song that's like deserves working on.
Oh, wow. How long did it take you and Jillian Michaels to write If the World Was Ending? Was that just like a few day process or was that longer?
I think we wrote it in about 2 hours.
Really?
Yeah,
That's the interesting thing about a song, right? It could take 2 hours, it could take 2 days, it could take a few years.
yeah. Sometimes they'll take a year. Sometimes they'll happen real fast. Baby, does 2 hours sound about right? Is that how long it took us to write it?
To write what?
If the world was ending,
Yeah, about 2 hours.
about 2 hours.
Oh, she's there. She is your current girlfriend.
Yes,
Okay, that's what I thought. I didn't want to make assumptions. I don't like making assumptions about people's personal life.
I appreciate that because you are you do not share that with all of your colleagues.
Yeah, yes, I realize that.
Yeah.
So you guys, but now that we're here, you guys met to sort of write that song together, and then you kind of started dating.
Yeah, we met the day we wrote that song, and we started dating about a week later.
Oh, that's great! Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. And do you still write songs together? Do you share songs with each other all the time, or now that that it's become a relationship, are you like you do your work, I'll do my work?
I think like for a while we were just like really focused on leaning into falling in love because that's the most
Hmm.
beautiful thing in the world. So we didn't want to add our a creative dynamic to that one. We just wanted to like be fully in it. But now that we are quarantined together, we've definitely been doing some writing.
When you do get romantically involved with someone, criticism, whether constructive or not, can have a different kind of emotional resonance than it did before that. And I'm wondering if you were ever worried about that.
I think all relationships take a certain level of security in order to be healthy.
Hmm.
If you're not like confident who you are as an individual, being that intimately connected to another person will challenge you on levels that it doesn't need to. Because if you're not stable in who you are, being that close to someone else, you're going to compare. You're going to look at what they're doing. You're going to feel like it shakes some sense of who you are. So I feel like that's every relationship. So I think both Julie and I are solid enough in our belief in what we do that we can just root for and appreciate and love on what each other does and not ever have it really be any sort of conflict.
I mean, you were primarily a songwriter, but is performing a huge part of who you are? Do you love to perform in front of people?
Oh, performing is my favorite part of my job.
Oh, wow.
It's when these really intimate personal moments that have brought out these songs get to be the thing that makes me feel the most connected to people around the world. Like there's no feeling like being in a city I've never been in and being in front of a group of people who are singing every word to a song with me. Like that's the coolest thing in the world to me.
Do you miss performing right now?
A lot. I mean, just before we all locked ourselves in our homes, I was on tour in Europe, uh,
Mm.
and it was my first European tour, and it was so much fun. Like had the time of my life.
Did you have to fly back? Like, was the tour over or did the tour have to get canceled because of what was going on?
So it was really right before. So the tour ended on March 3rd,
Oh, wow.
and then yeah, and then I spent a few more days in Europe, and then flew back, and then a few days later, the travel restrictions started going in place.
Right. Everything got sort of locked down.
Yeah, totally.
Um, so I have to ask, I mean, sometimes, you know, you ask like, what's next for you? Obviously, there's nothing next in the immediate future because there's nothing next for anybody right now. But what are you looking towards coming up?
Well, I'm gonna put out an album this year, hopefully. You know, it's pushed back a little bit, but I think before 2020 comes to an end, I will have an album yet. I'm putting out a bunch more songs throughout the summer and in the fall. Yeah, I've been writing songs and making music for a long time before I started putting it out. And, you know, the EP that I dropped in February, Hold It Together, is just very much the tip of the iceberg. I wanted that to be like the introduction of, you know, the way I speak in these songs. And there is a lot more to come following up on that, a lot more songs I'm writing now and a lot more songs that I've had for a while that I'm really excited to share.
Another song that you have that I liked is Sad Corny Fuck, which where did that song come from? When did you recognize that you might as well be, like me, a sad corny fuck at times?
Yeah, so that's actually the fastest song I've ever written. I was driving, and this was maybe a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago. I don't know exactly what the timeline is, but just kind of thinking about how those moments in a past relationship that feel so incredible at the time are often the moments after the relationship that hurt the most to think back on. And I was looking for another song that would kind of give me that feeling. You know, I wanted that therapeutic song that already existed to listen to feel better in that moment, and I couldn't find it. So I got home and started writing it for myself. And the chorus of that song is really just me stepping out of my current moment, looking at myself writing the verses, which were emotional as fuck, and being like, damn, JP, like that is some corny shit, you sad corny fuck. And like literally as a joke, I'm sitting there in my room going, I still don't know what you've done to me. I'm just a sad corny fuck suddenly. And like saying it, just kind of laughing to myself. And I was like, fuck it, I'm making it the chorus.
Was there a freedom in allowing yourself to be a sad corny fuck?
I think as an artist, there is a clear, there's a clear picture of how vulnerability is power when you're an artist, because you get up on stage and you talk about your most personal, vulnerable moments and you get cheered for it. But I do believe that regardless of how you live your life, vulnerability is power. It's not always as easy to see as it is in my profession.
Right. It's not as easy to accept in yourself sometimes as well, because we're kind of taught and trained that vulnerability is weakness. Or I guess
especially
if you're an artist, it's different. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, especially as men, like there's this idea that strength is the ability to suppress your emotions, not the ability to own them and be human in them and feel connected to others because of them.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've got an album hopefully coming out later this year, and you're going to be dropping more songs this spring and in this summer into the fall.
That's the plan. Yeah, I actually have a song, a Spanish version of "If the World Was Ending" coming out tomorrow.
Oh wow, that's amazing! So that's going to be on Spotify in Spanish.
It'll be everywhere.
Incredible. How many songs, since your first album is going to be coming out, how many songs did you have ready to go going into the recording studio?
There's a lot. There's a lot.
I would imagine.
There's about 10 songs right now that I have finished writing, but I'm still recording.
Wow. Well, man, I can't wait for the album to drop. Congratulations on all the success and on writing a song that you did not know would be as relevant as it is right now. And as you said, the Spanish version of "If the World Was Ending" is dropping tomorrow. JP, thank you so much for talking to me.
Thank you for having me, and thanks for caring and wanting to have the conversation. I appreciate it. I hope you're staying safe, and also really appreciate what you're doing for No Kid Hungry at the beginning of this. That's really cool.
Oh, absolutely. Please stay healthy, stay safe, and stay safe, and stay indoors. Stay home.
I will.
All right. Take care, JP.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.